Okay, I'm back with a video today about a very sensitive topic that I'm familiar with. And if you're here watching this, you're probably in a pretty bad spot, and you are just don't even know what to do. So I'm just going to give you my pieces of advice. Now, I'm many years removed from this particular situation, but when I was going through it, man, it was tough. And so if you're here and this just happened to you, I'm very sorry that this happened. It's brutal. And so I just want to let you know that you can get through it. You will get through it. Right now, you don't think that's possible. Right now, you're thinking of the worst things. You may be thinking about, ending it all. Don't. You're going to get through it. Okay? You are. I promise you are going to get through it. So what I'm talking about is infidelity. And I was not the person who did it, but I was on the receiving end. And this is probably what most people are here watching because they're hurt, because the person who did it probably isn't here watching them. But if they are, good. Maybe you'll learn something from this as well. So I was married for almost 7 years. We had one child who was around 3 years old, and as many persons who engage in infidelity, this occurred with a coworker. This is probably 90% of times when this happens is usually with a coworker, from what I found out after all this time. And so anyway, I was getting some hints and clues, seeing, I'd see this person, they were invited to our home. We went to their home. That person was married as well. They had children. We went to their birthday parties and things like that. We weren't like greatest of friends or anything, but we did hang out with them occasionally. But anyway, it was a coworker of my ex-wife, and they were having turned out to be very lengthy, long affair, and it was devastating. It was, I was suspecting stuff for a while, and finally, this is back when we used to get your cell phone bill in the mail, and I saw the list of, not the actual words of the text messages, but I saw the number of text messages, and I had been suspecting for some time, because she would go on conferences and things like that. So your mind's already running. So lo and behold, the train of thought is, and even if maybe you're watching this too, just really a segue, and you're suspecting your spouse. Okay, if you've already suspecting, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but if you're suspecting it, if you're seeing some clues, you're probably right. Okay, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but you probably are. So anyway, this is when you go back and you could see the text messages. So I would see like 90. I'm not even kidding, 90 in one day. Okay, so that right there, you kind of know. I confronted her about it. She denied at first, and then finally, I left. The home, went to a friend's house for the night. Called on the phone. She finally admitted, only happened once. It was a one-night thing. Turned out it was 2 years. So, they're gonna lie and lie and lie and lie until they're gonna lie with as much as they get away with. I even threatened to take her and get her to do a polygraph, and she agreed. And then the day we were about to leave to go do it, those things aren't very valid. Okay, this is all just, okay. But anyway, the whole point of this video is to say that you are going to get through it. It's tough, but there are resources out there for you, okay? There's a lot of websites that you can go to. One I went to, I haven't been to in years, but it's called Surviving Infidelity. And there's a lot of people that are on there like me that have been through it, that can give you advice. And a lot of times right now, I know you may not want to hear it, but you're here watching this video for a reason, so you're looking for some comfort or something somewhere. Okay, maybe you're having a couple of glasses of wine, and that's totally understandable. But you will get through it. Again, I want to reiterate that you will get through it. It's tough. It's one of the most gut-wrenching things. And speaking as a man, it's really tough. It's an ego buster. It's to know that your wife, your spouse was, intimate as more so than you ever were with them. Come to find out they were doing things that you yourself weren't doing. But it's a very tough thing to go through. But I would say see a therapist. I had never done therapy before, honestly. I didn't believe in it, didn't think it worked. But you need to talk to somebody, see a therapist. But number one, if you're reading any of these infidelity books, is you have to cut off contact. Okay, whether you're not want you want to make it work out or not. Okay, and so that's up to you. You have to look deep down. Especially, it's hard, especially if you have children. You know, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to leave this person, uproot our children, and that's a tough decision. So it takes some time. So yeah, first of all, even if you are going to work it out, you got to cut off contact. Okay, and be alone, or with your kids. You need to take care of yourself. Another thing you need to do is you need to take care of yourself physically. You need to make sure you're eating, trying to get sleep. I know it's hard right now. Trying to exercise. So I went and saw a therapist. I got on some anti-anxiety medication, which was a tough pill for me to, no pun intended, for me to swallow, just because I have thought I was a tough man, could deal with all this, but it was something that was, I was having panic attacks. It got me. It was tough. But yeah, so you need to cut off contact, only to exchange children or whatever. If you're not intending on staying with the person, then don't be sleeping with them. Just don't. Okay, it's just they're getting what they want, and all you're doing is trying to create a situation that's not going to remain. Basically, you're just seeking comfort for someone you're familiar with, but that you also secretly you hate. Not even secretly, you're probably telling all your friends you hate them, and family. Don't let family convince you to what to do. And one of the other things, don't make a drastic decision. Like, I'm going to sell the house and kick them out and move out or whatever, or I'm going to move across state, or I'm going to move out of state. Don't make a rash, big, huge decision, okay? You're tempted to, your emotions are just all over the place. Trust me, I know. I kicked her out. She moved in with her parents, and I was like, we're gonna sell this house, and ultimately we did, but I waited a while, but one of those things is cut off contact. Just do the daily things that are necessary. If you've got some paid time off, if you're, I'm self-employed, and so I couldn't do this, but if you have some paid time off, then you might want to take it to try to, deal with this. This is it's almost like a death, because you're going to go through all those, the grief stuff, denial, anger, acceptance, and all that stuff, but it's going to take a long time. God, I hate it when people told me this, and you probably hate me here, and hate hearing me say this, but time will heal. It will. But man, I didn't believe it at the time. I really didn't. I was like, this is it. I just want to take a gun and blow my head off. I'm sure you thought about that. It's bad. It's brutal. It's tough. And like I said, speaking as a man, it's a really big ego blow. It's just like, why wasn't I good enough? And typically it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with just emotional stuff. But nevertheless, it ain't your fault. I remember one time I went to couples therapy because one of my friends was like, you guys need to go to couples therapy right away. So we did. And one of the first things the guy said to me was like, well, you got to accept some responsibility for this. I mean, granted, this was just like a week after I found out, and I was like, F you. I'm like, what are you talking about? And because I'm not saying I was a perfect person or a perfect husband, but I didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that, I would just had rather them have left. And I'm sure you've thought this. You probably said this. I just, I even told her this. I wish you'd have just left. It would have been easier, rather than me having to endure knowing that what had actually occurred. And I wound up running into this guy like 5 or 6 times after. Well, that was tough. Never got into a fight or nothing, but nevertheless, it's a tough situation. And so, like I said, cut off contact. Don't make any rash decisions. Take care of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally. Seek help. Family, friends. If you have guy friends, go hang out with them. Girlfriends, go out and do stuff. Try not to booze it up too much, because you get a bottle of wine in you, and then you're gonna call them, and then you never know, you might wind up over there with them, and then the next morning you're gonna wake up going, ugh, what did I do? That was so stupid. Okay, so try to avoid that. And so, but there's books on this, ad nauseum, but you just have to try to work through it the best you can. And again, you will get through it. It is very tough. It's one of the toughest things I ever had to do, and especially from when you have your kids, and then when you do eventually separate or divorce, not seeing them every day. That's a tough thing, and a lot of people will go ahead and give it a go just for the kids. That's your decision to make. For me, it wasn't going to work, because I remember telling my father when he was still alive, I was like, I want to make it work. I want to forgive her. But it was such a lengthy affair. It was really hard. But I go, but I'm going to throw it back. I'm going to always throw it back. And he gave me the best advice in that situation. This is just for me. I'm not saying this is for you. But he said, well, then just leave. Just go. And so I did. And, I moved on. It's been over a decade now. But it was tough. It stayed with me. I mean, to this day, sometimes I'll still think about it. But I don't cry anymore. You'll get there. You'll get there, trust me. But definitely, like I said, reach out to friends. Take care of yourself. Don't booze it up too much. Cut off contact. Even if you are going to make it work, still cut off contact initially. They got to earn that trust back. Okay, don't go off and get a tattoo. Don't go off and do these things. They got to change them. You don't got to change you. Okay. And so that was another good piece of advice that I got from friends, is that, it's not you that needs to change, it's them. And so trust but verify, okay? And so these are all cliches, but you're going to, actions speak louder than words, that kind of stuff. But, they broken the trust, and it's hard to get it back. And you may be at the point where you're just like, that's it, that's a deal breaker for me. That's okay. That's what it was for me. I did try to make it work, but ultimately it wound up being a deal breaker, and I'm better for it. My daughter's now in college, but it was tough. And so I'm going to tell you though, again, you will get through it. Don't do anything drastic. Okay. Hearts out to you, power through it best you can, and good luck.